It's 106 All the Hits afternoon show with your boy Nino, and now it's time for Nino's movie review of the week. And this week's review is of the Netflix original series, The Umbrella Academy. 10 episode series, first season on Netflix, about a billionaire who adopts like 7 special kids, are born around the world out of 43 children who had happened to have been born to women who weren't pregnant at the beginning of the day. And that was what made him so special. So this old billionaire made it his mission to round up as many of these kids as possible, to form them into a team, a superhero crime fighting team, to try to fight some impending doom that he foresaw that only these children had the chance of stopping. But you got to imagine, this is not some billionaire who was nice to these kids or wanted to adopt them and give them meals like Charles Xavier and the school for gifted children. No, this was if Charles Xavier was like an abusive adoptive father that just browbeat him and trained him like a drill sergeant. I mean, it was so much. He was so disconnected from these kids, that he didn't even give them names. He only gave them numbers 1 through 7. The adoptive mother of the group, however, did, she was the emotional part of the equation. She actually gave the kids names and everything, but the old man, no, he never called them by name, only called them by their numbers, number 1 through 7. Number 1 being the leader, 2 second in command, 3, 4, 5, all the way down to number 7, who was like the shy, silent, quiet one, who was always off on the side, in a room by herself, off doing something else that the old man wanted her to do. Never what the other 6 were doing. Never went out on missions or anything. So that kind of lets you know right then, why is this girl just hanging around all these kids with special powers? And she has none. She's like super intellectual. She's like the maid. And she's like, with the lightning rod of the family. Well, what is it? The punching bag? Why is she in this show if she has no special powers? But you find out at the end what's going on. But, like I said, it's a few spoilers in there. If you haven't seen all 10 episodes of it, you might want to stop when I get to a point that you're not familiar with. But if you want to know what's happening, you stay tuned and keep watching the video. There are a couple spoilers around here. But it opens up like almost, I want to say 13, 14 years after all the kids have left the house, after the death of the old billionaire. The old billionaire dies. Every one of the kids gets the message, and they all kind of converge on the mansion where they were raised and trained, to be the Umbrella Academy. And they all have flashbacks and everything of their childhood adventures, stopping bank robbers and everything, and, foiling plots and working as a team, and they didn't do it nice. They killed, they were, they had blood and everything. It's not, friendly. He was raising these kids to be some brutal crime fighters to try to stop an impending doom, a virtual apocalypse that was supposed to be happening on planet Earth. So number 1, like I said, he was the leader, Luther, and then you had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And you got to imagine that the number 5, he was the time traveler. Like number 1, he was Luther, the big guy. They called him Space Boy. He spent 4 years on the moon, with his detached head attached to the body of a space ape, because he was almost killed in an accident on a mission when he was sent on younger. So the old man, performed some emergency surgery, attached his body to a specially genetically modified ape, to handle his physique and everything and handle his, special powers, and then ended up sending him to live on the moon for 4 years. And then number 2, Diego, he was, adept at throwing knives and everything, assassin class, that kind of thing. Then number 3, Allison, the black girl, she was an actress. She grew up to be an actress, but she had special hypnotic abilities where she could whisper in your ear and make you do whatever she wanted you to do. And it was that kind of thing, where each one of them had their own little special powers. Number 4 could see dead people. Number 5, he was like the main character of it. He could time travel, and he ended up time traveling so far into the future that he reached the apocalypse, and he had time traveled by accident to go that far and ended up getting trapped, and ended up spending 30 years in the future trying to get back to the original timeline that he left, only to come back 13 years later. Everybody else had already left. When he left, they were kids. When he came back, it was his adopted father had died. It was 13 years later, and the people were coming back, trying to, patch up their old relationships and coming around to the death of the old billionaire. So he comes back with the news of an impending apocalypse. They have to find the one-eyed man who's responsible for stopping the apocalypse, and they have to find a way to work together and get over all of their childhood trauma that they had, all the childhood beatings, and all the conflicts, and not feeling unwanted, and not having friends, all kind of dysfunction going on. They have to put all that aside some kind of way, in order to be able to work together to stop the apocalypse. I mean, number 5 was so messed up. He had a mannequin that he was walking around with that it was his only friend, like Tom Hanks in Castaway with Wilson the soccer ball. He had this mannequin that he would walk around with and just talk to all the time. It was the only thing that kept him company for almost 30 years until somebody from the Continuum Corporation, an organization that was tasked with keeping the timeline in motion, keeping it intact. And once they found out, about his time-traveling abilities, they wanted to recruit number 5 in order to come work for him to make sure nobody else was trying to tamper with the timeline. But all the while, what number 5 was working for him, as an assassin, a Jason Bourne kind of assassin. He's an old man at this time, like 40, 50 years old. And he's, an assassin for the Continuum Corporation, assassinating anybody who was trying to mess with the timeline just to make sure everything that was supposed to happen did happen. But he had an idea on how to get back to his original timeline, ended up escaping back to his original timeline like almost 13 years after he left, and then they ended up sending a hit squad after number 5 in order to stop him from stopping the apocalypse, which was his mission. And I was almost like through episode number 7, I want to say, out of 10, before I realized that Mary J. Blige, yes, R&B singer, soul singer, star Mary J. Blige, is actually one of the hitmen from the time continuum. I mean, and she's doing like kung fu moves, shotguns. I mean, blasting people with shotguns and throwing knives and doing all kind of, assassin class kind of moves. It was kind of nice to see. I'm like, oh, Mary J. Blige, and she was a rough one too. She was nothing nice in this TV series as an assassin for the time continuum, and it was absolutely phenomenal. But it all goes around you trying to find this one-eyed man, who they find this, number 5 finds this glass eye in the hands of one of his brothers, who was killed in the apocalypse, the original apocalypse. When he time traveled forward, he found this eye in the hand of number 1, Luther. So that's how they know there's a one-eyed man that they were looking for, who was supposedly responsible for the apocalypse. So they're doing all that they can to try to find the one-eyed man. Come to find out, the one-eyed man is dating their sister, number 7. So now you see where number 7 comes in. She thought she was just a quiet type and all this kind of stuff, but the one-eyed man, beads in on number 7 because she wrote a book about the family when she got older, exposing all of their family secrets. And everybody's mad at her. Everybody's like, why did you write that? Why did you put that book out? Blah, 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 blah. But this guy, he beads in on it and finds out, he can awaken her inner powers. And come to find out, she's one of the strongest ones out of the group. She's like the Dark Phoenix. The pills she was been taking as a kid, that the old man had been giving her, they weren't help to stabilize her mood. They would help to keep her powers in check, which were attached to her mood. When she cried, it would rain. When she was happy, the clouds would part, the sun would come out. When she was angry, things would bend, the light poles would bend, the earth would start shaking, and she could actually take sound that she would hear and convert it into kinetic energy and throw it at you. She actually cuts her sister's throat by accident in a fit of rage, just, screaming at her, and uses the scream as energy and cuts her throat with the scream. Oh, it was absolutely crazy. And you come to find out they called her the white violinist by the end of episode 10 because she was so powerful. She was drawing in so much energy. She had learned how to play the violin, and she was using that violin as a lightning rod to conduct the sound. And, man, got so white hot that she ended up shooting a blast that destroyed the moon. Destroyed the moon from one shot on Earth. So you need to check out the Umbrella Academy. I'm not going to spoil it too much for you, as far as like giving you, how how it ended and everything like that. I don't want to give that away, but man, just all the way through episode 1 through episode 10, they showcase one character, and then to let give you some background more, get you a little bit more attached to each character. So by the time you get to episode 10, you're just fully involved. You know everything about each one of the characters except for number 7. And number 7 gets revealed in episode 9, like almost, when you find out what her special powers are and how they get developed and how they, get used and manipulated and everything. So if you want to see something that's going to keep you emotionally attached to the characters all the way through with great special effects, great storyline, Umbrella Academy is absolutely it. All the way through, and you can binge watch it episode 1 through 10. It's like everybody I'm running through to, though, is getting stuck on like episode 3 for some reason. I don't know why it's getting stuck with episode 3, but that's when Mary J. Blige makes her appearance as the assassin, and she comes in with the shotgun, and she comes in, she's Cha-Cha, and her partner Hazel, the tall guy, they have these like inflatable masks that inflate to like these cartoon character faces. It's crazy when they put the mask on and then you hear and then it pops up and you see these cartoon faces and they just go on a murdering spree. Oh man, the Assassin Squad from the Time Continuum. Yeah, there's some bad characters right there. So you gotta watch the Umbrella Academy all the way through. It is absolutely phenomenal. One of the best things I've seen on Netflix in a long time. I can't wait for season number 2. And be sure to hit the subscribe button below, hit the like button on the video so we can keep in touch on all the videos that are here to come, and I'll keep you up to date on when my next review is going to be. It's been a blast. It's your boy Nino, Kiss 106.